Well, hello once again, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Soccer's Summertime, where the goalkeeping's easy. Greg Elston, Tony Sanchez, back here with you in our occasional series, now twice here in the month of July. It's great to be with you. We told you after our TST tribute episode a couple of weeks ago that there would probably be at least one more episode this month. Yeah, I was thinking about this. This is exactly what I was thinking about. Chris Toth, Sebastian Mendez is back. Taylor Bond is back. Tony, we're back. I mean, not in the same way. We didn't get 3-year contracts or nothing, but we're back for another show to talk about it. It's great to see you.
Yeah, likewise. Again, here in the San Diego Soccer's burst, it's about that time. Signings need to start getting announced. People need to stay in San Diego, soccer-wise, and deals are getting made, at least in Oceanside, for soccer players of merit who have definitely earned it. And I'm glad the Soccers are doing the right moves as well.
Yeah, it's good to see. It's a proof of concept, as a matter of fact. You can sign the local guy and keep him in town, but we are referring to something else at this time. Here's what's going on for tonight's show. First off, it's Soccer Summertime, right? It's an occasional series. We say thanks to SanDiego.Futbol for their continued production of the Soccer's Overtime/Soccer Summertime series. We got 3 player signings to talk about. 2 guys who are returning, and 1 guy who's, returning from like 7 years away returning. But he is coming back. Chris Toth, who is right now out on the training grounds with Cardiff Soccers as a goalkeeper coach, working as we speak, set to come off the grounds sometime around 6:30 tonight. And he will join the show live when he is basically back in his car. So Chris Toth will join us probably somewhere around 6:40 or thereabouts. But in the time in between that, Tony and I have plenty to chat about. We're going to get into the Four Nations Cup, and we'll chat about that next. We'll talk about Sebastian Mendez signing for 5 years. We'll talk about Taylor Bond signing for 2 years. And we'll talk about Chris Toth signing for 3 years to come back to his birthplace home and to play for the team that raised him, the San Diego Soccers, and to play under the banner of his wonderful father, Zoltan Toth. That's who this kid is only the goalie. So all of that coming up on today's edition of Soccer's Summertime. It's great to have Soccers fans here, and it's great for everybody who missed the note that this was coming out live, but then checks it out later on YouTube and enjoys the show afterwards. So whether you're watching it live or whether you're watching it a little bit down the road, we thank you either way. Again, Chris will be joining us closer to 30 minutes from now. Could be even a little later, depending on if, one of those more talkative parents grabs his ear on the side of the field. You know who I'm talking about. You know what I mean? That one, hey, if you just have a second, there's one thing I want to run by you. And then it's like 15 minutes later, you're going,
My favorite
one thing.
Yeah. My favorite is when the one thing is like, so in those goalkeeper drills, I know there's a really good drill that I saw online, and as they're telling Chris Toth this, like, I don't know if you've ever thought about this, but you get and then you're just bored. I'm like, and you just got to be polite, customer service face, like, yep, just like, I'm Chris Toth guy, like, it's okay. Like, we'll get through it, but yeah, I'm excited to hear from him and the return of a legend, just a prototype player, and just a great player to watch. Now we get to watch him with the soccer kit once again here in a new arena. So exciting times.
Yes, and we will talk about what does this mean for the Soccers goalkeeper position. What does it mean for Boris Pardo? We've got information on that to pass along as well. It's all good news everywhere here on Soccer's Summertime. So get ready for a good time, if not a long time. Well, it'll be as long as it takes to get Chris on, that's for sure. All right, let's start things off by talking about the announcement that was made during the Gold Cup final last Sunday. which is the return of indoor soccer exhibition style to Front Wave Arena coming up in mid-September. September 13th and 14th, the Four Nations Cup will be played at Front Wave Arena. And for everybody who is dying after TST is in the rearview mirror and regular season MASL probably not until, the end of November is where it's been usually laying out, start of December. Four Nations Cup should be a great opportunity to whet everyone's appetite. Here's all the information as I could find it. The United States, obviously. Mexico, obviously. Brazil and Colombia will be the four teams represented. Colombia, a bit of a surprise, I got to admit. I thought they'd go Canada, Tony. There's enough, I think, pretty good indoor players. The Colombian team, I'll be very curious to see who winds up wearing the yellow, blue, and red.
Yeah, I'm not too familiar with the Colombian indoor soccer game, if I'm very honest. Obviously, we know the pedigree of the U.S. and what the soccer's entail, the Mexican teams right now, obviously with Chihuahua being back-to-back champions and a lot of the soccer's players coming through there and them populating through TST, through the MASL. The Brazilians get that futsal connection. It's a different sport, but they speak indoor soccer, so I understand that. And that's, Colombian. I can name some outdoor players for the Colombian national team and just the history of that. But just it doesn't jump out as me as being just a indoor soccering nation. But I am very, very, very okay with finding out that indeed Colombia knows what they're doing in terms of indoor soccer, and maybe a different style and different strategy with that entails with the Colombian indoor soccer style of play.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if Hamas is coming, then we'll all get tickets. But yeah, I don't know. That's a great question. And it's something we'll find out more, I'm sure, as we get, closer to the event. I do not know if this will be televised, that streamed. I mean, I know it will not be televised. The revolution will not be televised. But I do not know if it will be streamed or not. I think that's something that is very much TBD and dependent on a lot of different convergent circumstances. But here is, again, what I do know for sure. We know U.S., we know Mexico, we know Brazil, we know Colombia. We know that there will be 4 matches played over the course of 2 days. On Saturday, September 13th, there will be a match at 3 p.m. and a match at 7 p.m. The 3 p.m. match will be Mexico, Brazil. The Saturday 7 p.m. match will be the United States and Colombia. Then on Sunday, the losers from Saturday meet at 1 p.m. And then Sunday at 5 p.m., the winners from Saturday meet. And there will be a $10,000 grand prize to be shared amongst the winning team. So there will be some money on the line. You should expect to see good hard play. And as such, I would assume that all 4 teams would try to do, the very best they can to get this thing locked up from a roster standpoint and to have some good talent there. And lastly, logistics. The Four Nations Cup will be selling individual tickets, as you just saw, as Tony, if you're watching us here on YouTube, you just saw Tony scroll through. They'll be selling individual tickets to each event. So it's not a day pass. You don't get a Saturday pass and see both games. You have to buy 2 tickets to see the 2 games. They will be clearing the arena in between games, but they are hoping / suggesting that folks hang out. The Palace Starlight Lounge and patio area will have music, will have like live concert going on, food and drink, specials going on, international flavor. And if you do hang out there, you'll be the first back into the arena when they reopen the gates. So, a little bit of love there. About that much information, but you can read it for yourself at frontwavearena.com. Tickets at frontwavearena.com. Just click on the events link at the top of the page, and you'll see it pop up. It's one of the events coming up this summer at Front Wave Arena. So, Tony, your thoughts on the Four Nations Cup?
I love it. In a lot of ways, remembering what happened last year for the first ever event, the U.S. versus Mexico exhibition match, where it had like Guli Peña and just some outdoor stars that made it inside into the sphere and joined what Marco Fabian was doing, and they were like, okay, we can do that. They're familiar with indoor soccer down in Mexico in general, but this is a good opportunity again to highlight the sport, to highlight different aspects of the game, highlight the arena, give an opportunity for those who haven't necessarily made it up there to say, hey, like this isn't necessarily a soccer's game. You will see soccer's players, but if you want to go ahead and have a little bit more vested interest in rooting for a national team and get that tribalism out, and it's part of it, right? You saw soccer's players in this exhibition match last year on the U.S. side and on the Mexico side, but once those uniforms go on, it means something, and it's something to really carry the name of your nation through soccer, and so it's going to be really interesting, and it's going to be really exciting. I know for a fact some of these teams that are going to be coming in. I'm also curious to see what the roster is going to be, who's where, and if there's players that we don't know about. Wouldn't this be a really neat opportunity to scout for the Soccers?
Absolutely. I mean, I'd love to see some, as they say in Hollywood, stunt casting
Yeah.
for the weekend. I wouldn't be against it at all because nothing ventured, nothing gained. It's an exhibition. Let's find out what's going on. That would be wonderful. I mean, there's some crazy stuff you could imagine happening. Could you imagine if like they got some Savage players to join the Soccer's Mexican players?
Ooh.
What if Chabo showed up? Would the hug come from the front instead of the back this time?
We'd have some soccer again, some soccer's going and being cordial in a lot of ways, and I think some players will remember what happened up in Chihuahua. But let's move forward. Time moves forward.
That's fair. I'll never forget, but time does move forward. But yes, and so does the show. So the Four Nations Cup, exciting coming up. You can get your tickets, as you can see. I wanted to make sure that you knew which games were which. That's one thing I don't think is that apparent looking at that menu. But if you do click through, the games have been assigned. So the Saturday night game will be USA Colombia. The Saturday afternoon game is Mexico Brazil. And then the winners play Sunday at 5 p.m. The losers play for third place and, nothing Sunday at 1 p.m. But, still get a chance to play. And you never know. What if that's the U.S.-Mexico game?
Yeah.
What if Brazil and Colombia win the Saturday games, So you probably want to see U.S.-Mexico wherever it lands. So, and it doesn't necessarily have to land. One team could win, one team could lose on Saturday, but we'll see how it all shakes out, and it will all shake out at Front Wave Arena. 4 matches over 2 days, a super fun weekend. Second weekend of February, second weekend of September. Go check it out. FrontWaveArena.com. Okay, on to the players. And again, we are working our way toward Chris Toth joining the show once he gets off training grounds for Cardiff Soccers. So let's start with the announcements that happened last week, which were the re-signings of Sebastian Mendez and Taylor Bond. Mendez gets a 5-year contract extension. Taylor Bond, who you just saw, lovely picture, Taylor Walter Bond, 2-year contract extension. Of course, at very different stages of their careers, Sebastian and Taylor. Taylor now mid-30s, while Sebastian just 25 years old. So that 5-year deal, Tony, locks up Mendez in San Diego through his 20s. And I think that's a real kind of under the radar important signing for soccer's continuity of success. We know we love this team. There's a lot of veterans on this team. There's a lot of guys who have seen the number 3 attached to their name for a while. There's some guys who have the number 4 at the start of their age now. So having a youngster like Sebastian with live legs, that's really exciting.
That tells me that there's a buy-in from the younger generation, because much like everything, like, again, we're talking about, the kids that Chris Toth is dealing with right now. It's a new generation, and we know that it's hard to get people's attention. it's hard to get people's to really buy in and pay attention to the old school way of thinking. A lot of different ways. The San Diego Sockers embody that old school way of playing, but to really captivate the attention of a talent like Sebastian Mendes, and for the amount of time that he's here, really tells me that all right, there's something here that's it can evolve into this newer version of the San Diego Sockers in the Front Wave Arena. We saw some glimpses of it where, if you mix speed and the philosophy of the San Diego Sockers together, you get this really cool mix of wow. Remember when the Sockers were definitely unbeatable at home every single time? Well, guess what? They were unbeatable last year at home, and they went through that entire way. Now, can they figure out how to do that in Mexico? Can they figure out how to do that away in important matches? That's going to be an aspect where, as you're building the roster, it's good to see Sebastian have that buy-in, because, like, yeah, it's so easy to look at other flashy things around, whether that's Kings League, whether that's another team, whether that's a Mexican team, and you're just ring chasing there. Seeing somebody like Sebas, who is as true to the game as you're going to find of a kiddo and a young guy. I say kiddo because he's a kid, but he plays with the men of the MASL, and he's one of the best of them. And so I'm really really happy to be able to see that the Sockers were able to secure that. And hey, Taylor Bond experience. Like, there was some games where there was a Taylor Bond size hole in the roster, and you're like, you know what, I can definitely use a Walter a Bond run in the middle of the pitch, in the middle of the floor right here. But you didn't have that with injury, but it's good to have that consistency throughout.
Yeah. Just briefly on Bond there, and I'll go back to Sebastian. Taylor loves being in San Diego, and he's had the opportunity now to see it all. He had the chance to be a full-time player in places like Chicago, early in his career, then to come to San Diego and to have the role he had, for several years, but to win 2 championships, or pardon me, 1 championship, the COVID year along the way. It was great, but Taylor was never going to be like the number one forward or even the second forward for the Sockers back at that point in his career. So he left, he went to Florida, right? He faced the Sockers in the Ron Newman Cup finals the year after winning with them in the COVID season, continued with Florida, moved around a little bit, right? Wound up Harrisburg for a minute, Utica for a couple of seasons, and then he gets back to San Diego, and now he's kind of seen it, done it, inhabited all these roles, and knows that he's got that role as a running forward, a guy who can inhabit multiple positions, a guy who shows up with a big smile, great guy in the room, super enthusiastic, willing to get into the corners, willing to take a card when the time is needed, willing to be a physical presence for the team. You need guys like that. Taylor's that guy for San Diego, and it's just great to have him on your side.
Yeah, it's a good sign. And again, I remember, I mean, even last year, right? Just kind of like, it's July, haven't heard a lot, and kind of getting to this point. But hey, the Sockers are getting to it. They're working. I see the account putting out some stuff, and the little hamsters on his wheel for the Sockers, and I really enjoy the fact that it seems like the championship was attainable last year. I think that's what happened, is that across the board, whether it's soccer ops, whether it's front office, they tasted the Ron Newman Cup at home. They got it. They saw it. It was there the entire week, the entire weekend. It just hung out in Front Wave Arena. You and I made sure not to touch it, and we did our part. But
Yeah.
at the end of the day, it went elsewhere, and it ended up being, getting that passport over into Chihuahua. So hopefully this is that next step of saying, hey, you know what? We've learned our lesson. We got punched in the mouth again. Let's do even better. Because guess what? 2 years ago, you got punched in the mouth. Said, let's do better. You made it to the championship. You got all the way through, and you did your best. If you do better this time, guess what? There is no other better than getting a championship. And that's where you're at for San Diego Sockers.
That's right. Now, back to Mendes. Got off to a slow start. Didn't score a goal in his first 5 matches for San Diego. Then he found a little bit of a rhythm in the middle of the year. Was becoming that fourth quarter guy who has the speed, can burst off the bench, be part of a counter. I remember some big 5-5 type goals that Sebastian scored along the way to 14 goals, 6 assists, 20 points. But those numbers, are reflective of the fact that Sebastian right now in the current iteration of the Soccer's offense is, somewhere akin to a seventh option. And so him getting 20 points over the course of 24 matches, but playing all the matches, being there, posting up for the team, that's a pretty good season in San Diego. It looks like he took a big step backwards because if you look at his career numbers, you see that he has scored 41 and 38 points in a season, that he scored 27, 23 goals in a season. And I really wouldn't be surprised if at some point in the course of his contract, if not multiple times, Sebastian gets to that level here in San Diego. But that will be as players continue to cycle in and out as they age out of primary roles on this club. You've got to have those guys to come in and take up that slack. And I think it's important on a club like ours, Tony, for those players to have been there and have established that continuity so that when they're stepping up, they're doing it within the system they know, as opposed to being somebody coming in from the outside and you're trying to shape the system around them, or you're trying to have them incorporate and star. I think that's difficult here. Craig's not going to be, he wasn't the fulcrum this year of the offense, right? Tavoy is much more these days. And nonetheless, even Craig knows his time is going to be limited to continue to be a key player. There's a lot of guys on this team, like I said, that are on the other side of 30 now. So having that young guy to pair up with Tavoy potentially for several years, we hope Luis Morales could come back. That would be another huge part of this that's not locked in yet. When it comes, we'll talk about it if it comes, but those young guys, I think, are super, super important to the next 5 years for San Diego.
Yeah, and what I also want to just can't go understated is just, and I think it's something that gets overlooked by the actual the institution of the team at any given point with sports, is just the direct impact that the fans have. I know that he became a fan favorite, Sebastian Mendes. He became a fan favorite with his play, with giving it all for the badge, for the crest, and really just going out there every single game and filling a churra-sized hole in a lot of different ways.
Right.
Making sure that there was that fighting spirit, whether you're facing a game that was very difficult. He came in clutch. He came in those moments. He had the brilliance. He has the talent, and he put it together. When he was a little quiet in last season, he still made up by putting that presence and putting that work rate and going, and the fans recognize that. So that makes a player comfortable to make the decision to, hey, you know what? I'm loved here. I am appreciated here. And he definitely felt that. And whether or not it's because of the Soccers, they do things differently. When you come in, they go around the arena and say hi to any fan that wants a high five, sign those autographs. Like, those things matter. And again, if you are a San Diego Soccers fan and you're considering going back up, or whether you get to see elite talent like Sebastian Mendes week in, week out, and help him feel more at home. If that's your mission as a fan, is supporting and helping a youngster just feel at home in the great city of San Diego up in Oceanside, then I think that's a noble cause and a noble effort to do, and you get to cheer on and go crazy whenever he does score. So I want to make sure that that's very much highlighted, just the impact that the fans have in these situations.
All right, let's get to the biggest signing in the league so far this summer, which is the 5-time and back-to-back reigning MASL goalkeeper of the year, Chris Toth, leaving Tacoma. The Tacoma said their farewell to him on Monday, and then today the announcement: Chris signs a 3-year contract to come home to San Diego. And there's gonna, we'll talk to Chris about it. There's plenty of obvious reasons for Chris Toth to come home beyond the professional. His wife, Kayla, is due to give birth. I think her due date is Saturday.
Oh,
So,
wow.
yeah. Yeah. So becoming a new dad and coming back to play at home, you know, I think every professional athlete would want that in a
Mhm.
situation where they become a first time father. So that's outstanding, right? Then professionally, it all aligns as well because it was back. Actually, it happened before I rejoined the team and for the 2018-19 season that the Sockers traded Chris Toth to Ontario for Leonardo de Oliveira. Uh, and at that time, and in the 2 seasons before, Chris and Boris had split the goal, and they had done exceptionally well, both of them. Pushing one another and sharing time. They had done exceptionally well, but it was really tough for two keepers, both in the primes of their career, and one just a little bit older than the other, to have them both continue to be 12 game a year keepers. Like
Yeah.
that it's just not right. It's not right for either guy. So the right move was made. And Chris has spent the last 7 seasons either in Ontario or with Tacoma. And he's won 3 goalkeepers of the year over that time, same as Boris Pardo has over that time. Those guys have been kind of trading off, on who is goalkeeper of the year. It evolved into a professional rivalry that everyone could see every time that Chris's team faced our team. It would be a low scoring game. Everyone would come to play because everyone knows the level of talent that Chris brings, all-time saves leader in the MASL, all-time games played leader, all-time leader in save percentage. And he's always been a guy that's had an extraordinarily high save percentage, 736 for his career. Now, the last few years, he's played in front of, I think we would all agree, more porous defenses
Mhm.
than what he has here in San Diego. So those goals against numbers have been higher because he's been in a shooting gallery all kinds of time. But what, just from an analytical standpoint, what I see this as for the Sockers franchise is hitting a clock reset on their elite goalkeeper position because they've gotten the elite years, the outstanding years. And Boris Pardo has been the most clutch goalkeeper in the league. He's brought 2 championships to San Diego that they didn't have before. He's won 3 goalkeepers of the year in San Diego. He's the all-time wins leader in the MASL. Those wins have been here mostly, like 1 or 2 years in Kansas City. The rest of those have been here in San Diego. Boris is 41. Chris is 35. When Chris left, Boris took over at 35 as the regular keeper for San Diego. So in that sense, I'm saying turn back the clock on the position. You've got a 35-year-old elite goalkeeper, and you've got Boris Pardo too, because this is the important part that, and I spoke to Phil today, Cheeky, Sean Bowers, spoke to them all, wanted to make sure I got the apps, been texting with Boris. And this is a move that Boris was told about. It
Mhm.
wasn't like, hey, Boris, we signed Chris. It was,
Yeah.
hey, Boris, let's talk about what's going on. Let's talk about your future. Let's talk about the future of the position. We're thinking about this. And this was a move that was endorsed by Boris Pardo. This is a move he is happy about. And it's a move that's going to accompany a transition for Boris Pardo to become the goalkeeper coach of the San Diego Sockers.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, and to be elevated into the coaching apparatus of the Sockers, to be given an opportunity for a longer term impact on the Sockers beyond his playing days. And those playing days will continue in 2025-26, working with Chris, helping coach Chris and also working with Chris. Now, Chris will get the majority of the starts. I think that is definitely going to be what happens, is Chris is going to get the majority of the starts. But now you've got a chance, because I know one thing that you and I talked about for a couple, 3 seasons, Tony, was the way that the Sockers used Boris, playing him kind of every inning of every game. We're in baseball season right now. But, every minute of every start, starting 23 of 24, starting 22 of 24. And you say, well, wow, that's tough for a guy who's 39, 40, 41. Now you've got that opportunity to spread the love, to not have to have either one of these guys play back to back again, to have Chris one day, Boris the next, Boris one day, Chris the next, and however the split comes down. And by the way, Xavier Snare Williams will still be a part of the San Diego Sockers.
Yes.
He's still a part of the future of this club, because obviously one keeper's 41 and the other's 35. So, the time marches on. Time stops for no man. Time stops for no athlete. Every athlete ages out. Every athlete has a cycle. That life cycle exists so long. If you make it to 40, 41, that's incredible. If you make it to 41, 42, that's sensational. Sensational, right? It's just an incredible athletic achievement. To now be able to say we can pair the guys who you go through all the rankings and you go 1, 2, 3, save percentage, wins, minutes, starts, just go up and down the line. And one list says Boris 1, Chris 2, one says Chris 1, Boris 2. These two guys are two of the best in the world. And to have them now work together and to have the chance to improve one another, both in terms of iron sharpening iron, but also in the sense of, Chris, you don't have to play every minute. I think in Tacoma, it was like, Chris, you got to play every game, bro. Like, except for the games you leave for beach soccer, because he continues 104 caps as the beach soccer United States starting goalkeeper. Incredible honor. But in the past, Tacoma would be left without, they'd be left with the Pirueta. Here, you're going to have Boris and Xavier still. So I just think it's really exciting to see, and nothing but good news for the Sockers and their fans.
Yeah, I mean, I had a couple of questions, just kind of knowing that this was coming down the line. Like, okay, well, first, did they tell Boris? Good, they did. All right, he's in on the plan, right? And even if he wasn't all gung ho about it, which it seems like he's on board with, like I was hesitant of like, well, what is it going to mean? There's only one ball, is what my mom used to always tell me. Why don't they just give everyone a ball and they'll be happy? Well, it doesn't work that way. And there's only one ball, but even then, there's 4, 5 outfield players that have to share that ball. But even then, it's a specialized position. There's only one goalkeeper. And for that position, you have to go ahead and cement yourself above the rest. And these are two players that now have to coalesce and together. But then that's that second question of, well, I know Boris, Boris, like the competitive aspect is gonna maybe get the best of him. But again, if it's that transition period where he's understanding that, like, hey, long-term impact for what's gonna make most use of my time here at the San Diego Sockers is to then also help out the future, is to then also be part of what continues the lineage and legacy of champions, is to blend my mind, not just my body, because he's given everything plus with his body and will continue to do so, but also now contributing with the mind. And Xavier Snare Williams, what better two goalkeepers to learn from than Chris Toth and Boris Part? You had Boris Part, and that's fine. But now you're telling me again, with a different sports analogy, a quarterback is going to train under Tom Brady and Joe Montana? Okay, let's go ahead. Let's go ahead and do that. Like, let's see what happens. Right, a very young goalkeeper in Snare Williams. He speaks the language of indoor soccer, but now he has somebody who also speaks the language of transitioning the beach soccer skills into the MASL, which now is that extra layer, because it's different, right? Just like we talk about the outdoor game to indoor to futsal to beat, like same but different. And there's different things that that Chris Toth has definitely taken and made sure to be the best at and be a prototype of. So he's definitely in line to be in good company ahead of him. Now again, whose headache is this? Bill's, maybe.
Right.
That's his issue to kind of not even an issue. Like that's gonna be his albatross to bear in a positive way. But again, I always go back to it. Is Phil gonna make that choice based on the data? Is he gonna make sure to look at the film and say, you know what? Last year, Tacoma played Chihuahua the best away. They kept them 4-2. Who was the goalkeeper in that game between Tacoma and Chihuahua? Well, I know somebody who was a part of that game. I know somebody who also has insight on a team up in Tacoma that has been a thorn in on your side and literally potentially cost you, if you go back, cost you the Ron Newman Cup championship game, the third one at home, because you lost the opening and it ended up being very narrow, this close from having the whole thing at home. That would have changed the dynamics. But it's incredible the legacy that Chris Toth has, and I'm glad that it works personally, professionally for him. And it's soccer, man. Like the name has a weight to this. It's very rare when you have two players from the same family tree, father son, or anything that's similar that has the pedigree and it generationally it transfers. Zoltan, Chris, the Toth name, it already hangs in the rafters. So what an incredible honor again to be able to don the San Diego Soccer's crest for him. And again, congratulations. If it works out, like personally, who like this is just almost too good to be true. Is it too good to be true, Craig? Are we?
It's real. I mean, this is real. And what I'm really excited about, I swear to God, what I'm really excited about is to see this come back together
Mhm.
7 seasons down the road. Because for a couple of seasons when those two guys were splitting the net, it was that thing. Like they're cordial, they're professional, but whose net is it anyway?
Yeah.
And both guys are in the prime of their career. And can we really keep going like this? And anything you can do, I can do better, and it's tough. It's tough. But also, I just saw last night in the movie theater, F1,
Mm.
which I don't know, which by the way was awesome. I
Yeah.
absolutely loved it. Absolutely loved it. That's why you go to the movie theater, is for experiences like that. But part of the plot line of that is the young gun and the old vet, and can they work together as a team, or will their professional rivalry overwhelm them when they're like literally crashing each other out, you know, in races because they don't want to let one another get by. And when they work together as a team, they're unstoppable.
Yeah.
And I can see Chris and Boris working together as a team and being unstoppable because all of those past things that had to be confronted, now like Boris is transitioning to a player coach role. That's a decision that's been made organizationally. It's one he's embracing. It's a chance to keep your name and your legacy with the Sockers, to stay on the bench, right? Like it's literally a chance to stay on the bench and stay in the room for the team as you continue to grow older, because time comes for all, and as such, you're hitting reset on that position and you're going back to a guy 35, prime of life, prime of career, prime of athletic, form for that position, and offering that opportunity for that legacy to continue. Think about this, Chris. It's a 3-generation legacy for the Toth family. His father, Zoltan Toth, who defects and moves to the United States in 1979, and then becomes an indoor soccer legend with the New York Arrows and the San Diego Sockers and the St. Louis Storm. His number's retired. Zoltan's father, Georgi Toth, was a 15-time starter for the Hungarian national football team in the 1930s and the 1940s. And now you've got Chris, who has started over 100 times for the United States for the men's beach soccer U.S. national team, and continues the indoor legacy, and is one of the most decorated goalkeepers, 5-time goalkeeper of the year, for goodness sake. I've literally known Chris half of his life. I met him when he was 18 as a kid
Wow.
playing for Fusion, playing for Alex Monar's club, and actually balling out against the Sockers in an exhibition when the two stars on San Diego Fusion were Chris Toth and another young kid, really big dude with big feet named Nick Pereira. It was like, who are these guys? Man, this could be the future of the team, future of the league. You know, they were both rookies on that 2010-11 Sockers team that won the PASL championship, and Chris started the semifinal that year. Talking about, again, old veteran, young player. How about right at the beginning of your career in your young 20s? And it's a one-game winner-take-all semifinal. That was against a Mexico City team that was led by Janoni Martinez on the floor. Yeah. And Chris got the call to start over Riley Swift, who was the incumbent goalkeeper at the time. And he was a PASL goalkeeper of the year. He had won the finals MVP the year before. And that decision was made, and Chris had really the best start we'd seen a goalkeeper have in 2 years of the Sockers, and the Sockers won. I want to say that was a low-scoring game, like a 3-1 game, something like that. That semifinal, I was there, it was in Cincinnati. And then they went on to win the final the next day. So I've known Chris a long time. When we chatted earlier or at the end of last week, prepping for this week, he said, thank you for being here, and don't drop the elbow on me again, because famously on one of those crazy ass limo bus rides on the way home, I think it was 2012, I was trying to climb over people, including Chris, to get to the front of the bus. And then we took a turn, and like I basically fell and gave him the atomic elbow. It was just was not good. Was not good. I was like, oh my God, I just broke Chris Toth's rib. I am fired. Like, I'm getting off this bus, going straight to jail.
Directly. I mean, you real quick, you mentioned, right, the legacy of his grandfather. What year was that? And I'm going to tell you, because Lev Yashin is considered to be the greatest goalkeeper of all time of that in that era, and came from that area of the world. So like, for his grandfather to be considered in the goalkeeping pedigree like that is incredible. So it's a legacy, fantastic legacy. And oh man, I can't wait to talk to him.
Well, let's stop talking about Chris Toth.
Love it.
Let's start talking to Chris Toth. As fresh off of the training grounds for Cardiff Sockers, Chris Toth joining us here now live on Sockers Overtime. Look at that. That's my guy. Chris, how are you?
What's up, Craig? I'm doing well, man. How you doing?
Doing incredible. This is a really exciting time. We've just spent the last 20 minutes talking about you, so your ears can stop burning now. And
well, I just got off the field, man. I just had to do a bunch of training sessions for some goalies over here, and try to find a nice quiet spot to get on here, and I'm excited.
Well, let's just start top line, and we'll work our way through. You're back home, man. Kayla's expecting this week. You're back. You're in San Diego. The palm trees are behind you. What are you feeling right now?
Yeah, man, it's a lot of different vibes going on right now. You know, like you said, my wife's due with our first child here. It's expected on Saturday, but you know, you never really know. So that's going on right now. And then, you know, breaking the news with signing back home. You know, born and raised here, lived here my whole life. Even while I've been playing in Tacoma, in Ontario, always been living here. I did spend the last 2 seasons in Tacoma, which was awesome, living there for the season. But no, man, I love it here. This is my home. You know, my dad played here. Numbers retired here. A lot of championships are won here. Great players have played here. So for me to get back and playing in my hometown is super special to me. It's something I've always wanted to do ever since I left, to close the circle and come back and finish out as a soccer.
I love that. Born and raised. I feel that. And whenever born and raised comes back, it just means something else too. A little bit of an extra thing on there. But you mentioned, right, you've had some time over in Ontario and Tacoma. How would you say that it's changed yourself personally, professionally, your style, or just changed different ways that you've changed through Ontario and Tacoma that led you back here?
Yeah, it's a really good question. I feel like I did a lot of growing as I left the Sockers and went to Ontario, and then from there to Tacoma, and then kind of back to Ontario, and then back to Tacoma, and then here. To be honest, when I did leave the Sockers, I was scared. You know, it was a new thing. I've only played here in San Diego. This is what I knew. You know, other than going to Europe and going on trial out there, the Sockers was everything to me. And I felt like I needed to step out a little bit and try something new, you know, and meet new people and play under new coaches and just see what that was about. And by doing so, I think it's really helped my game a lot, just by having to, you know, tweak my trainings in different ways, get out of my comfort zone a little bit from some of the things I've always been doing with my dad, and do other things. But then also getting other opinions. You know, I played with a lot of good players in Ontario, you know, and in Tacoma, a lot of good players. I mean, Charlie came from Ontario and now is, you know, a stud player for the Sockers now, you know, and just bouncing things off him and seeing how he plays, and just other players, you know, Frank Tyer's another one I played with, you know, Berto Palmer, Nick Pereira. I mean, there's a huge list of good players that I've been around, and just got to see different things and have different types of conversations, and just help me grow as a player and help me grow as a person as well.
Really, really good answer to a great question, Tony. Being back here, Chris, you know, we were just kind of talking about it and going through those years and seeing just the volume of saves that you've made, you know, and it's incredible. And I think that professional growth is so critical to you. Now you come back to San Diego, where you're going to get the opportunity to have that kind of plug and play defensive championship unit in front of you, the Serta, Cardenas, you know, and down the line. How excited are you to reintegrate with this group? And in the case of some guys like Mitchell, guys that you've not played with before.
Yeah, I mean, listen, over the last 7 years, I've been playing against San Diego a lot. So we always knew, you know, we have to get goals, and it's going to be very difficult to get them, because the defense is so strong. You know, they don't make many mistakes, you know, and Boris is in goal, and you have all these guys in front of them, and it's not just the defenders, it's the midfielders and how San Diego keeps the ball, you know, and if they have the ball a lot, well, then you don't have the ball all that much. And if you do get a chance, well, you may not get another one. And so, you know, last year we talked about it with our last game with the Stars, trying to make the playoffs. You know, I think we were up 2-1 going into halftime. We didn't score another goal the entire half, you know, and we had missed, I want to say there were 3 really, really good opportunities to put the game, you know, maybe 3-4, maybe in 5-1. And we missed all of them. And it ended up biting us in the butt there and missing the playoffs. So for me to go into a team that, you know, looks like, and for me, I'm a witness to this, is their defense first, you know, it'll be awesome to play with them, to understand a little bit with how they move and what they're thinking, all those little things that come into play, that you learn with time. I've played a lot, you know, with some of the guys, right? Serta I've played with. Craig obviously played a long time with him. But there's some guys in there that I haven't played with before, and I'm looking forward to seeing how that all meshes.
I love that. And then you mentioned, again, just reconnecting with some of these players, reconnecting with Boris, and also connecting with a younger goalkeeper in Xavier Snare Williams. And can you tell me just what are your thoughts on being able to now collaborate and work and have this locker room of Boris, X, and yourself now for the Sockers in the goalkeeping sense?
Yeah, I'm excited. You know, Boris and I spent two seasons together. And since then, he's done very, very well for the club. You know, he's been successful. He's won 2 championships there. I think, and just one other final, I believe this last season, right? 3 finals. So that right there is already a lot. And I know he's won 2 goalie of the years. And Boris is a solid goalie. He's been around for a while. Played in KC, played in Wichita. He knows the game. So going back and working with him, is going to be, it's going to be exciting. It's going to be fun. I already know he's probably going to push me. I'm going to push him, and to get the best results that we can do. It's not me against Boris or Boris against me. It's me and Boris against everybody else, and the soccer's against everybody else to win. And then as far as Xavier, me and Nick are really good friends. He's been on and off the national team. Really, really good dude. Always has a smile. You guys know. Great guy. And I'm excited to teach X because I've shown him a lot in beach. And he's come very far. He's a very good goalkeeper, young, hungry, powerful. So I'm really excited to kind of show him a little bit my knowledge and bring that to the table for him and see what he can pick up and how he can improve.
Well, Chris, right before you came on, I was just kind of doing storytelling about how I've known you basically half your life. I met you when you were 18 years old. You're 35 now. I've seen you grow from a young man into a grown man and now soon to be a dad. And, I'm assuming a fourth generation of Toth goalkeepers could be on the way, fingers crossed. Who knows? I don't know. Have you guys done a gender reveal or are you going to find out when you find out?
Oh, we're having a boy. There'll be a
okay. All right. Then it's settled. It's said. I mean, if you had a girl, it could have been sorted that way too. It could have been the next U.S. national team keeper there too. But it's so beautiful to have this come back together. And I think we always knew someday, right? Someday that this could be the case to have you back here. But I wanted to give you one more chance before we let you go because when we talked last week, I know it was important to you to give Tacoma an opportunity to have the chance to say thank you and for you to say thank you to them because that's been such a big part of your career. So maybe if you just had a word for the Stars fans.
Yeah. I loved my time with the Stars, and I have to thank Lane and Lynn Smith. They brought me in 2 years ago. Lane's a great owner, does a lot for the team. I have nothing but great things to say about Lane. I want to also thank the coaching staff, one of them being one of my best friends, Nick Ferreira, but Evan McNeely and Adam Becker, they were great all year. The training staff, awesome. Did such a great job of keeping everybody healthy and keeping us fit, ready to go. And then, the fans as well, I had such a good time playing up there in front of them. And we had some unbelievable moments. I mean, I'm going to go back 2 years ago, my first season with the Stars, the full season. We had the 3 games against Chihuahua. 2 were back-to-back in regular season play, and they hadn't lost on American soil. And I remember I gave one ball over the top all the way full field right onto Alessandro Canale's foot and poked it in to win the game, like with a minute. And that was unbelievable. And we had just beaten Chihuahua, and it's going crazy. The fans are going nuts. Like, it's a back-and-forth match. And, anytime you play a San Diego, a Chihuahua, a KC, a Milwaukee, and you play them twice, back to back, you go, if we win one, we split, it's okay. The weekend's a wash. So the next day we're like, all right, guys, can we pull this off again? There was some magic there. And we're losing, and there's a free kick that happens right in front of me. Ramon Torres fouls, I forget who. And they're up by 1 goal, and there's 30 seconds left. And I run over to the bench. I say, Nick, this is what could work. I'm going to go in goal. And when they pass it back to Reynoso, I'm going to sprint and Juice is going to run off onto the field as the extra attacker and see if he can pick the ball. And I don't know how, but it worked. And I want to say there was, 1,500 people. It felt like there was 10,000 people. I mean, I saw people running across, going nuts. I mean, I looked at nobody could believe it. I couldn't believe it. Nick's going just shaking, like, dude, what a moment. And then in the playoffs, we played Chihuahua again. Cooley beat them 3 times, and we beat them again in the playoffs. And then, we ended up losing down there. But those moments, that you can remember every detail like that, those last forever. And those moments I'll always remember in Tacoma. And it was so special for me. And, I wish them the best. Yeah, that's kind of it. I'll always remember it though. So
Yeah, that the league literally changed the rules on that play. That's quite a memorable play.
Yeah, it was insane. It was insane.
So good. Well, Chris, listen, thank you for setting up. I know you just got done with a hard coaching session and you stuck around and gave us this beautiful backdrop as well. Lovely to get your smiling face on. All the best to you, to Kayla, to the Toth family. Here we go. Super exciting week. All of us are going to be thinking about you all the way through, but on the bigger stage, from professional soccer side, it's so great to have you back, man. And we can't wait for the season to start.
Thank you, man. Thanks for having me on. And I'm excited, and I know my dad's pumped and the family's pumped. So, yeah, man, I'm ready to go.
Ready to go. All right. Well, I'll let you go then. Get on out of here. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Take care.
Have a good one.
Chris Toth. That was great.
That was awesome. That's very rare times that I see you also just kind of be pumped, like you saw him wearing the kit. Like I was seeing him in the green room. I'm like, oh, that's cool. That's really cool.
Yeah,
and then he popped
exactly.
And you're like, pop, like, yes.
There it is. There it is.
No, I love it. He loves it, and that's what you want. You want the positivity to really come through, and people who want to be here, right? That's huge in building the chemistry of the team, and it's going to be a net positive, I always say. And if you're the defense, you're like, hey, we got some backup behind us. We got players who are re-signing. There's a lot of positivity coming out of this week, and hopefully the summer sessions for the Soccers of San Diego. Yoshin-san.
Can't wait for it. All right. That's going to be it for this edition of Soccer's Summertime. So thankful to all the Soccers fans. I know the second that the deal was announced, people were like, hey, I want to hear more. I want to hear more. I want to know. So we wanted to bring you all the info. If you missed any part of it, the show is going to pop right back up as soon as we say goodbye, and you can go back and listen to any parts that you missed. Tony, it's a really exciting time in SanDiego.Futbol right now. I'm almost surprised we're not just going to switch right into a WTF Milanowski supercast here. But thankfully we had something good to talk about instead. Tell everyone what's what and what to follow.
Yep, go ahead and follow SanDiego.Futbol. That's SanDiego.Futbol. That is the website. Abe, Cepeda, and every company have writing. We have media availability, literally just rendered for SDFC, San Diego Soccer's overtime, everything soccer in San Diego at SanDiego.Futbol.
And as a reminder, Tony and I also, along with Alex Pena, host a San Diego FC podcast called The Cromaniacs. You can find that here on YouTube. You can find it on the SanDiego.Futbol page on YouTube. You can also find it wherever you get your podcasts, whether that's Spotify or iHeart or Apple Podcasts or Google Play or all those other platforms. We're there. So check it out. We'll have a new show on Thursday after the Wednesday match against Toronto for SDFC and Toronto FC. So that's the next time you'll see he and I. And the next Soccer Summertime will be the next time they do something that's worth doing a show. So when that happens, you'll get the bat signal will go up, and then we'll arrive on a Tuesday at 6 p.m. To do the show. All right, for Tony Sanchez, for Chris Toth, I'm Craig Elston. Thanks so much for being here. And until we chat again, have a great continuing summer and go Soccers!